Welcome to another episode of Boomer Babes Life Travel Podcast. My name is Jaynie Morris-Riggs, founder and creator of fun at Boomer Babes Life, our global community for women over 50. And it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you back to another one of our fabulous travel podcasts. And as always, we have the beautiful, gorgeous, amazing Christa Kinnear joining us today. How are you, Christa?
I'm exceptionally well, thank you. Thank you.
Well, now today, as everyone knows, Christa is usually with us on our travel podcast because she is the go-to, the fantastic, amazing connector for us with Phil Hoffman Travel, who is our travel partner for Boomer Babes Life. And today, we're going to be talking about trains, Christa.
I think we're going to stay on track as well. Sorry, the pun. Actually, it's a perfect topic because I was very lucky. I hosted a group in Switzerland. And in Switzerland, which is a tour we're repeating next year, but we call it Summertime in Switzerland, with no less than 8 amazing trains, world-class trains. And it's a beautiful way to travel. So that's starting maybe at the top. You've got Glacier Express, the Bernina Express, and the Gotthard Express, all these beautiful trains that connect to the cities of Switzerland with their beautiful panoramic windows. You've got snow on the mountains. You're sitting back in first class, sipping a glass of wine or fruit juice and having a beautiful meal and just thinking, how lucky am I on this beautiful train?
Do you know the picture that you just painted in my mind, and I'm sure to everybody who's listening today, is something that it's just taken me right back into those old time movies, Christa. You know, because I think sometimes when we think travel, sometimes we think, okay, holiday destinations, be it summer, winter, autumn, spring, various areas around the globe, cruising, river cruising, all sorts of things. Yep. But how often do we actually think about an actual travel experience is the train? And what you just described there is a great taste of it. Do you find, Christa, that sometimes when you're talking to people that they sort of overlook the opportunity of traveling on trains?
They absolutely do. And it's a lovely way to slow down. Absolutely slow down. Another train experience, I'm very lucky to be hosting now a trip to Northern Lights. So that's in Norway. And looking at an itinerary for a lady, she has got weird flight times from Bergen back to Oslo. So I suggested and had a little look, why wouldn't you take the 6-hour train through Norway? Absolutely stunning scenery. So instead of flying, it's the same price, but we're not hanging around airports checking in. We're not having to worry about our luggage. It just gets put on the train. It is just, it's a trip I'm really looking forward to. So that's lovely.
Now, there's lots of different types of train travel, isn't there? There's the quick trip. Like if we're talking about Europe, sometimes we often forget that traveling by train around Europe is something that happens every day for Europeans because it's part of their infrastructure as well. But even that everyday aspect is really good for when you're traveling to Europe or when you're traveling to the North America, or when you're traveling even here in Australia, all the different types of, what have we got here? We've got the GAN and we've got
Indian Pacific. So it either goes from Perth to Adelaide, but you could also do it Adelaide to Sydney, which I did overnight. Oh, well, I'm so proud to be associated with Journeys Beyond, who run those trains now. For an overseas visitor, you would think this is just one of the best things Australia's done. It's beautiful food. It's lovely entertainment on board. So that's the Indian Pacific. We also have the GAN heading north or south to Darwin, and they have what they call their expedition train, which goes and takes a little bit longer in places like Alice Springs and Katherine. That operates at certain times of the year. And then when the GAN doesn't run, they've now got the Southern Explorer, which goes from Adelaide right through to Brisbane. through the Blue Mountains and along the southern coast. So they really, really have expanded Australia's operation as well.
And it's a wonderful way to travel, as you mentioned before, isn't it? Like you get on board, and especially as if, you know, I mean, there's lots of different classes. Well, I shouldn't say classes, but lots of different, like you can have a seat, or you can have a legroom seat, or you can have a sleeper, depending on what you want. But so say you're on one of these fabulous train adventures, and you've got the sleeper. You check in, you're there, you're on board, you've got your own little room. But then, as you say, you've got the cabins that you can wander through. You've got the bars, the restaurants.
Yeah, the dining carriages are superb on Australian trains, and even as you said in North America, the Rocky Mountaineer in Canada is one of the leading trains as well, and they've got silver class and then gold leaf. The gold leaf, you do not eat for 24 hours before or after, because it's a gourmet train trip, and then you've got your beautiful dome at the top. So a very, very nice experience there as well.
And with that particular one, my friends, a couple of my Boomer Babe friends have actually done this. I haven't done it yet. It's on my bucket list. I'm hoping to do it next year. But am I correct in saying that with the Rocky Mountaineer, you can actually do that in connection with a cruise up through Alaska?
Oh, absolutely. If people haven't been to Canada before, definitely spend some time in Canada. And then we, on our APT trips, take the train from Banff, overnights in Kamloops, back to Vancouver. And that's really lovely. The reason we do it by days and not sleep on board is there's too much beautiful scenery. You don't want to miss out on that particular train.
Yeah, no, that's.
There's so many more. Do you know, like, we haven't got an hour, I know, but the Eastern Oriental Express between Singapore and Bangkok, that is another beautiful idea. The Orient Express from Venice. And then we've got the Trans-Siberian, which connects Moscow with the Far East. So if you haven't been on a train for a while, give us a call or send me an email. I'm more than happy to discuss and show some beautiful footage of the trains.
Now, I was going to touch on the Orient Express, because I think that when most of us think about travel on a train overseas, the Orient Express, because it has been so romanticized, you know, through movies and everything. But the Trans-Siberian, now you've just piqued my interest on that one. Moscow to Asia,
it
where
is
does that
Asia.
go?
I'm remiss to say to you exactly where you get off heading to the Far East or get on. I'm pretty sure it could be Bangkok, but I'm not sure. I'd have to check that out.
That'd be a really interesting one to find out more details. My goodness me. Well, look, I think that we've certainly piqued my interest is putting a couple of those destinations on the bucket list, but I'm sure that our listeners today have been reminded that whenever they're interested in taking a different sort of travel experience, they may want to explore actually going, on a train. There are so many places to go on.
And we do actually combine them. We have rail and sail packages. For instance, if you were cruising from Adelaide to Fremantle doing the gin cruise, you could come back by train. So there's so many different examples that we've got. Some really nice connections with the trains.
And we do really well at Boomer Babes Life Travel with Christa. Always looks after us. Remember that all the details for contacting Christa direct, because that's what you want to do. As a Boomer Babes Life member, what? You're not a member yet? Well, go to the Boomer Babes website, boomerbabeslife.com. Go to the membership section and make sure that you join us there, because as a Boomer Babes Life member, you actually get extra special benefits and support and lots of exciting things that Christa looks after you with your travel experiences that you go on. And of course, all the other details of connecting with Christa Christa, as well as everything that we've just discussed, is all below this podcast. Wherever you're listening to it, please make sure you do subscribe, like it, and share it with your friends, because, you know, our Boomer Babes Life travel podcasts are all about inspiring you of different things to do with your life, because life is all about travel. Oh, not really. Life is about more than that. But as far as you're concerned, Christa, life is all about travel.
I know. It does take over my life a little. There's too much too much travel at the end of my life, or life at the end of my travel. But it's what we love. We're passionate.
Yeah, we absolutely are. Well, look, thank you again, Christa. We really appreciate you joining us on our Boomer Babes Life Travel podcast and giving us insight to trains. I think we kept on track.
We have kept on track. Now you just got to get on board.
Trust Christa to end it in a perfect way. Thank you so much for joining us again on our Boomer Babes Life Travel podcast. My name is Jaynie Morris-Riggs, founder and creator of fun, Boomer Babes Life, global community, women over 50. We look forward to having your company when next you join us on our podcasts.